Good evening, a pleasant welcome to LNTV News Live. This is a 30-minute presentation of major news, views, interviews, background reports, and analysis shifting the destiny of Liberia, Africa, and our global village. It's Tuesday, March 5, 2019. My name is Zokwe Beslokonen, anchoring this edition of the program. In our top stories, House of Representatives concurs with the Liberian Senate in passing the Hummingbird Resources Bill. National government challenged to engage Firestone Liberia to ensure payment to over 3,000 retirees. The president of the Liberia Chamber of Commerce, Wendell Ade, calls on government to be proactive and help structure a program of action to get Liberia's economy moving very strong. And off the home front, Zimbabwe's existing U.S. sanctions since 2003 have been extended to 12 months. These stories plus many other developments are all coming up in the program LNTV News Live. But first, we are taking a short break to be back with the faces of the newsmakers. Welcome back to LNTV News Live. We continue with the program. The House of Representatives has concurred with the Senate in the passage of the Hummingbird Resources Bill. The bill, entitled An Act to Ratify the Mineral Development between the Government of Liberia and Hummingbird Resources Incorporated, was recently submitted to the legislature by President George Manuel. The agreement will be implemented in the southeastern gold field of Liberia with 25 years duration. Here is Representative Johnson Werklow reading the motion for concurrence.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, distinguished colleagues, having heard the communication from the Liberian Senate seeking the House's timely concurrence on the Senate engrossed Bill number 3, 2019, entitled An Act to Ratify the Mineral Development Agreement between the Government of Liberia and Hummingbird Resources Incorporated, knowing that during the first session of the 54th legislature, the House passed on this act, and realizing that all the members who passed this act are still with us in this House, I move, Mr. Speaker, if I can get a second, that this bill be concurred with in its entirety, that the House concur the Senate on this bill in its entirety so that it can become law.
Margibi County lawmaker Ava Jones is calling on national government to ensure that Firestone Liberia pays retirement benefits to over 3,000 retirees. According to Firestone Liberia, the retirees should go to NASCOP instead of the company directly issuing the retirement checks. At the same time, the retirees say they want their money from Firestone. Here is Representative Ava Jones calling for swift intervention into the matter.
Should not sit and allow people going on a rampage of people paying their way to come as far as from let's say from Nema, Maryland, or so forth, because let me say, Firestone has employed all more. Not only in Liberia, even outside of Liberia. So if those people pay their way to come in at the end of the day just to receive zero check, what you expect them to do? So I think, like I said, we should be proactive. If the law calls for the transfer of beneficiary or whatsoever to NASCO, let us make the citizen to understand, or let us that this is the case, so that whatever comes out, they will already be prepared for it. But if we sit there and don't do anything, communication leaving from our office to your office, asking you what they rely on, and you cannot do anything for me, I believe that's not the best way for us to move forward. I hope those relevant authorities will not only just sit and be calling this meeting now, they should go on ground and be able to interpret to the people. So the people, and even to Firestone, if the action of Firestone is right, they should be able to interpret to the people. If the action of Firestone is wrong, they should be able to tell Firestone that your action is wrong, revert to status quo.
The president of the Liberia Chambers of Commerce, Wendell Ade, has called on national government to work with the private sector to ensure that it is proactive and help structure a program of action to get Liberia's economy moving strong. He said at least with such programs in place, it will help address some of the challenges facing the economy, especially with the foreign exchange crisis the country is faced with.
Meeting with export banks in several countries to bring about, to secure medium-term funding with particular emphasis for the agriculture and artisanal mining sector, small scale manufacturing, those kinds of things. Because if Liberia does not become proactive, all right, we might end up being net importers of everything that we use. Okay, we've signed up to international treaties, the WTO, the ECOWAS, the African Continental Trade Agreement. All of these, now we have free flow of trade between the countries. All right? And we have to comply. There are complying clauses in these international continental agreements, regional continental agreements, even with the MRU. All right? So we have to become proactive. We need to sit at a table with government and structure a program of action, all right, to get our economy moving. At least minimum, let us be able to produce what we consume. At least minimum, so that we can address the foreign exchange crisis and all of these other things that's happening, and put our people to work.
At the same time, following series of consultations, the Liberia Chambers of Commerce has boycotted its planned strike action. The planned action was intended to, amongst other things, draw government's attention to some of the challenges they are faced with in the sector. Here now is President Wendell Ade again.
We've been working with government officials, very specifically the Minister of Commerce, the Minister of Transport, and also the House and Senate part of it. I'm pleased to inform you that we have gained the attention of government, and the Senate has written requesting us to suspend the boycott. They've also mandated the NPA to suspend implementation of the GTMS activities pending a full investigation of the matter. So we're informing the public, the business community, that the boycott, the proposed boycott scheduled to take place tomorrow, March 5th, is hereby suspended.
Victims of the fire incident at Raleigh Town Hall dormitory on Carleton University campus in Swakopmund County are calling on national government, including philanthropists and other individuals as well as institutions, to come to their aid. The victims, mainly students, during the abrupt fire incident lost essential items including money and are said to be confused and traumatized since the unfortunate situation occurred. Here now are a few of them. Dede Flomo and Tawan Flomo speaking more about the situation.
I was just traumatized by this whole thing. So he was talking to everybody, more besides the students. They were greatly affected. They had their phones, their computers, and a whole lot of things that they really needed for their studies. Everything got burned. So right now the students are so much traumatized. Like me, I live here with them. And when I came, I met a place like this. So it's not just easy. A lot of things were taken away. Money, jewelry, like my wedding band is missing, my passport, and the same with them that I girl refusing to talk. Some of them absolutely nothing.
Okay, where is your call to public?
What?
Where is your call to public?
Yes, my call to the public is that they should come to help Cottington. They should come to help us, because Cottington is a place where everybody from Liberia come to school. And this place, if it's still like this, the school will not, the children will not learn under this kind of environment. They don't have a place to stay. So I'm calling to the public and even the government of Liberia to come to the aid of Cottington. Basically, radical.
I was in Fanga again, I just saw the fire and people running everywhere. And I just found my stuff, so just sitting.
Okay, what is the next option?
Right now I'm confused. I don't know what to say.
Okay.
I'll do.
What you displaying?
Well, if you have just joined us, this is a reminder that you are watching LNTV News Live, a 30-minute presentation of major news, views, interviews, background reports, and analysis about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. We are taking a short break to join Koluba Zeze to fill us in with the passion of live sports. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Pleasant good evening and welcome to the sports, where we start with the LFA activities because, well, it will be March Day 2 in the First Division League across the country tomorrow, with several high-profile matches taking place. Where defending football champions Barracks Young Controllers will be searching for another win tomorrow when they take on Nima United. But that match promises to be Wednesday's biggest fixture because Nima United, one of the sides tipped to win this season's competition, have been fast improving in recent time. Christopher Red is the coach of Nima United, and he has the confidence that he can go at the PHP Bluefield to take all 3 points against the reigning football champions Barracks Young Controllers. And that match will be at the Bluefield, and NPA anchors will travel to Kakata along with Jubilee FC to battle each other. Likewise, Smalltown and Nima FC will also be at the Nesibidu Stadium to face each other. Leska, who are the former champions, will travel along with LPRC Waters in Central Monrovia at the Antoinette Tutmos Stadium, and that will be the ATS first match on Wednesday before Monrovia Club Breweries and FC Facel hustle each other in the late March. While the second division activities continue today, there were a lot of surprising results around the town, where Beer Mountain, who are the defending champions in the second division, could not win at home, where they however managed to pick a point against Garnetsville FC, who have traveled to the King George Stadium in Grand Kitman County. That match ended 0-0, with scores of football fans cheering on as the match went on. At the Anthony Totman Stadium, the oldest football club in Baseball 11, RE scored twice in the second half to force Summers FC to a 2-2 draw at the Anthony Totman Stadium, where RE lost the first match to Beer Mountain last week, but they managed to pick a point today against Summers FC, which the technical staff described as, well, a point well noted. Both RE and Summers lost their opening day fixture, and in Kakata, the Nelson Bido Stadium, Jar FC came from a goal down to score 3-2 victory against their Bushra Island neighbors Freeport FC, and a goal each from Lawrence Kumen, Daniel Moa, and Oscar Mayen were enough to hand the Jar FC boys all 3 points, where Nimle gave Freeport FC the lead in the 25th minute before Lawrence Kumen level for Jar FC in Lower Margibi County. The Unification City derby between Mighty Blue Angels and Tony FC was entertaining, but Mighty Blue Angel ended that contest with a 1-0 victory, seeing them to move at the top of the first division table. At the King George Stadium, as at the Sanicola Stadium in Nima County, Bombing County, winning goalkeeper Humphrey Grube, who recently signed for Samira FC, showed some class to help Samira wake up from last week's defeat to Madibaro to pick up a virtual 3 points against Heaven 11 in Nimba County. As Samira won that match 2 goals to 1 to give them their first point in the second division. And Moscow and Nimba fought each other to a 1-1 draw at the North Star Stadium in Mount Park. The league will continue tomorrow with more actions, like we say, in the first division. We're away from home quickly at the last 16th stage of the UEFA Champions League continuing tonight, and Real Madrid, without their captains, is taking on Ajax at home. Well, Madrid won the first leg 2-1, so they are leading and hope they can manage that and advance to the quarterfinals. And Tottenham also has traveled to Germany to take on Borussia Dortmund. And back home quickly, just as we go, earlier today, protesters or players, football and kickball players of Margibi County staged a protest in Kakata City demanding the payment of money owed them by the county authorities. Both football and kickball players blocked the Doo River Bridge, while denying the free flow of traffic heading to Kakata from Monrovia. However, authorities in Kakata managed to convince the players to abandon their protest, as a memorandum of understanding was reached between the players and the county authorities, where the county authorities wrote a promissory note promising the players that they will be settled by the 18th of this month. Where players of Grand Bass are also crying for pay after the National County Sports Meet ended. Well, that's it for the sports. We have more for you tomorrow.
Many thanks to Koluba Zize for the Passion of Live Sports. Well, if you have just joined us, this is a reminder that you are watching LNTV News Live, a 30-minute presentation of all the latest developments about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. At this juncture, we recap our top stories. House of Representatives concurs with the Liberian Senate in passing the Hummingbird Resources Bill. National government challenged to engage Firestone, Liberia to ensure payment to over 3,000 retirees. The president of the Liberia Chambers of Commerce, Wendell Ade, calls on government to be proactive and help structure a program of action to get Liberia's economy moving very strong. And off the home front, Zimbabwe's existing U.S. sanctions since 2003 have been extended to 12 months. We're taking a short break to be back in split seconds. Thanks for rejoining us. We continue with the program. The Forestry Development Authority is said to be at the last leg of its national forestry inventory process. The inventory process, upon full completion, will inform Liberian citizens on the remaining forest the country has and to as well as use it for setting up mechanism for the greenhouse gas emission, which is now being produced by industrialized countries. C. Mark Doyen is the head of the Forestry Development Authority. He has been explaining more to reporters about benefits the forest inventory has for the people upon final conclusion.
Should begin the last leg of what we call our forest inventory. That forest inventory will tell us the amount of forest that we have remaining, what we refer to as forest core. That's one. And why is it important? It's important because we can use the forest as an offsetting mechanism for the greenhouse gas emission, that is being produced by industrialized country. So we are reaching to a place where we want to quantify, what we have here, basically in layman terms, oxygen.
Meanwhile, Mr. Doyen said they have received $1 million from the African Development Bank to build the capacity of local furniture manufacturers. The focus, amongst other things, is to help create jobs and empower local businesses in the country.
See $1 million from the African Development Bank. We are going to build capacity of people who are involved into furniture making, so that we send them out of here, they're trained, they come back, and then we give them equipment, and then we give them loan. So we'll give them access to equipment, not necessarily one-to-one access to loan. That will be a very quick process, and then they can take contract from the government to fix furniture for offices, furniture for school, and what have you. In that way, we are making sure job is created, businesses are strengthened, and a lot of income will flow, in the economy. So
the Inspector General at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Josephine Davis, says more Liberia and Fulani businesses lack business registration. According to Madam Davis, following repeated announcements, most businesses have still refused to renew the business registration. She made the disclosure in an LNTV interview Tuesday in Painesville.
We started our announced inspection, and we discovered that a lot of Liberians were not in compliance when it comes to business registration.
They don't have it at all.
Yeah, the Liberians and the Fulani, they were not in compliance. So we started our announced inspection. The first day we had to lock 92 stores
Is it that they don't have it, or they have the fake ones?
The one they have is already lost a deed.
Okay.
Because the business certificate valid for 1 year.
Okay.
So once you are in 2019 and you know you did a business registration July last year, or you did it March 24th. So March 24th, we are in March. So don't wait for the 24th. You put in for another business certificate, but they will wait until the business certificate lost a date. Finish for that period. When you go to inspection, they'll tell you, say, oh, nobody to sit down to my shop. And we announce it. The whole of last year.
Former lawmaker Gabriel Yinkan says no appointed member of the We Alert administration has been or will be inducted into the alleged missing billion-dollar reports. According to Mr. Yinkan, he will support the president to ensure that the fight against corruption is upheld. He made the disclosure in an LNTV interview Tuesday in Painesville.
I will be one of the first persons supporting President Weah to ensure that these guys answer questions in court.
And even people in this government.
I mean, I can say to you
Later on.
without any stupor that, and I said this before, I'm saying it again, nobody appointed, I'm saying it. Some people mistook it out of context. You know, when I said call people in at the free poll, my own sister, somebody went there and said, oh, if anything I say to arrest you, you know, I'm talking about what she was complaining. I said, and I'm saying it again, nobody as far as I'm concerned appointed by this president is involved with this 16 billion. I'm being very clear. Nobody appointed by this president. Not somebody who is a spillover effect of a criminal enterprise. Or somebody appointed by this government.
Meanwhile, Mr. Yinkan, who heads the Liberia Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, LETI, says following the release of their 2015 and 2016 report, they have been requested an extension to be able to compare their 2016 and 17 reports.
As I speak to you, we are preparing for validation, which you have been joined with a P for the extension of the Reverse Foundation report. We're waiting for the next year. We have time to respond. Hopefully, we should be responding soon. We are also preparing for another report. So, because you know, we're behind time. 2016, 2017. So, we're doing 2 reports in about 7 months. I'd just like to add, our predecessors would have only done 1 report in 2 years. So, again, this is tremendous.
At this juncture, we cross over to the international scene to bring you foreign development. Existing U.S. sanctions on Zimbabwe in place since 2003 have been extended for a further 12 months. President Donald Trump says the Southern African nation poses an unusual and extraordinary threat to U.S. foreign policy. We have a report as compiled by CGTN.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Congress has voted to extend sanctions against Zimbabwe. U.S. restrictions were first imposed in 2001, and the Zimbabwe Democracy and Economic Recovery Amendment Act will keep them in place once signed into law by President Donald Trump. Our U.S. correspondent Harry Horton reports.
Well, the bill was unanimously passed by both the US House of Representatives and the US Senate during votes over the past week. The bill calls for an election in Zimbabwe that is widely accepted as free and fair. It also calls for some other government reforms as well. Zimbabwe has been under US sanctions since 2001 after then President Robert Mugabe embarked on a land reform program that saw many white farmers displaced from their farms. The chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Ed Royce, said that the upcoming election in Zimbabwe was a pivotal moment for the country. He said he was encouraged by some of the statements and actions taken by the government, but he said he was concerned by reports of voter intimidation, efforts to politicise food aid, and increased military presence in rural polling stations. Now, the MDC Alliance, which represents the opposition movement in Zimbabwe, pushed for sanctions to be retained. The bill will become law once President Donald Trump signs it, which he's expected to do so. Harry Horton, CGTN, Washington.
With that from the foreign scene, let's now recap our major stories. House of Representatives concurs with the Liberian Senate in passing the Hummingbird Resources Bill. National government challenged to engage Firestone Liberia to ensure payment to over 3,000 retirees. The president of the Liberia Chambers of Commerce, Wendell Abe, calls on government to be proactive and help structure a program of action to get Liberia's economy moving very strong. And off the home front, Zimbabwe's existing U.S. sanctions since 2003 have been extended to 12 months. Well, this is how we draw down the curtains on the presentation of the program LNTV News Live. Many thanks to you all for your viewing role. Many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, technicians, switchers, and editors for making this package a success. Many thanks to Koluba Zizi, who fill us in with the passion of live sports. LNTV News Live is a production of the television department of the Liberia Broadcasting System. This program comes on every Monday to Friday, with the early edition at 10 to 10:30 in the morning and the late edition at 8 to 8:30 in the evening. On behalf of the entire television staff, my name is Zokwe Beslekonen. I've been anchoring this edition. Good night. Bye-bye for now.